Let's stay with this story. Scores of survivors are undergoing treatment in Gauteng hospitals following Saturday's deadly blast. Family members from the community have also thanked the dedicated doctors, nurses, as well as volunteers working around the clock to tend to the wounded. They include patients at Far East Rand Regional Hospital in Springs. Our reporter Erin Bates is there. Now, Erin, you were in Plantation this morning where the cleanup operation still continues. What can you tell us about that area now?
Yes, well, some volunteers from Newzroom Afrika have taken their brooms to the streets of Plantation in Boksburg South. Residents also doing what they can to tidy up, clean the soot, the ash, the broken glass following those deadly blasts yesterday. We spoke to Ward 44 Councillor Edith Claassen a little earlier, and she discussed some of these efforts happening on Christmas Day today.
I cannot fix the bridge. I cannot repair or replace. But I think at this stage they don't even need repair or replace. They just need people around them. So it is just my plea that whoever can help, in whichever way, please come and assist. That's my plea to the nation of South Africa today.
So Claassen spoke to us just next to the battered railway line, next to that bridge, that low-lying bridge where the gas tanker was caught, where it got stuck and started to leak out that fatal gas that then imploded in several blasts yesterday. PRASA has done an initial assessment of the railway line. It's going to cost millions of rand to fix that site, but we don't have figures as yet. Of course, we have heard from Health Minister Joe Phaahla on the now 15-person death toll. No breakdown on patients receiving treatment at several hospitals around Gauteng, including the one behind me here. But those volunteers on the ground sharing some of their thoughts on why they decided to head to the streets of Plantation. Let's just have a listen.
Graag kom met besems, grawe, kom maak net skoon laat ons kan doen.
Wow.
So
dis jou Kersfees.
Ek het my 2 seuns en ek het hulle uitgebring saam. En ek weet hulle complain nooit die twee.
So we know that the hospitals that are taking in and tending to the wounded after the blasts yesterday include Charlotte Matleke, they include Chris Hani Baragwanath, of course skeleton staff often on duty over the festive season and the holidays. And Gift of the Givers is one of the non-profit organizations which has been involved really from the moment that news broke of those deadly explosions yesterday, calling on their network around the country to provide much needed assistance, also obtaining various medical supplies, you could say, antibiotics, treatments for sepsis following burn wounds, patching for burn wounds, and speaking to several community members in Plantation this morning. You know, we heard from a father whose daughter is receiving treatment for burn wounds, also bereaved family members. The Mashabas who we spoke to yesterday, that was Lawrence and Horsey, had 3 family members at the time we first spoke in ICU. Unfortunately, Ndumiso Mashaba and his wife Neo both succumbed to their injuries, and now it's only one remaining family member in ICU, a daughter of Lawrence and his wife, who's fighting for her life, in fact, in the very hospital behind me. The families of other households in their street planning funerals now, looking on how to retrieve the bodies of their loved ones and begin the process of putting them to bed, putting them to rest.
Now, Erin, along with the hospital, there was also significant damage to the railway line. What does PRASA have to say about this?
So PRASA will be doing a more extensive assessment of that damage and providing a final report in due course. We know from Health Minister Joe Phaahla and the Gauteng Health MEC that they are too working on a report due sometime next week, not on the railway line, but of course the injuries incurred by several bystanders in the vicinity of the blast. Some 37 serious injuries or injured amongst the scores being tended to. In terms of the railway line, that route actually not currently being used, but it's one of 10 railway routes or corridors which have been earmarked for infrastructure repair in the 2023-2024 financial year. And I dare say the cost of that infrastructure repair has now gone up. By how much we have yet to find out, but on site, you can see the bleachers, you can see the sleepers, I should say, the railway line itself absolutely decimated in sections, and bystanders simply taking in the staggering scenes there. We understand that that liquefied petroleum gas, which was leaking out of the tanker, it tends to be a heavy gas. This is what a gas worker told me on site yesterday. It moves through gutters and pipes, and we, in fact, my colleague and I saw those pipes blown open along with the debris of cars and the decimation, really, at plantation. So Boksburg south, I should say, we're more Boksburg north side, really coming to terms with those losses today, and the rebuilding work, not only at a private home or sort of home household level, but sort of more structurally, is going to be a pretty penny. We will wait to hear those details and indeed further information from Integrated Staffing Solutions, the company whose driver was involved in that gas leak that led to those blasts. The driver, we understand, is receiving medical treatment, but many questions, including from residents I spoke to this morning, about why he was taking that route, why he went under such a low-lying bridge, and what liability there may be for the company. Just one last thing to add, and that's some of the households we spoke to don't have household insurance, and so they're sitting with window panes blasted, roofs and ceilings looking really precarious, and worried about their safety over this Christmas weekend.
Our reporter Erin Bates giving us the latest following that devastating blast out in Boksburg.